Hello and welcome to Lose Five for Life. This will be the last time you need to lose 5 pounds. You know how we keep losing the same 5 pounds over and over? Well, today we're going to be prepping for the week as well as talking about all things sustainable weight loss. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Amy. I'm so happy that you're here. Today, I'm going to just give you a little overview of how today is going to go. We're going to get to cooking in just a minute. But first, and if for those of you who are cooking alongside, go ahead and start prepping the first thing on the list is the chicken. Hopefully I do that. Just bringing up my recipe. I just realized I have all my fancy computers up so I can put that up there. So you can start going ahead and so, cutting your chicken into strips if you want to. That's totally fine while I am talking. But basically, this is how today is going to go. We're gonna I'm going to spend a little bit of time introducing myself. I'm going to be talking about the common problems about losing your weight for good and what kind of gets in our way. And then we're going to start prepping some food. And while I'm making the chicken satay and the peanut sauce, and we're going to do some roasted veggies or possibly grilled. You get to choose. We're going to talk about, I'm also going to be sharing some shortcuts. I have some items that I bought that have really helped me to have some shortcuts for my food prep that I do every week. That's one of the things that's helped me to lose 80 pounds and keep it off for the last 5 years. And amazing. So I'm going to share some of those tips and tricks as well during that time. You are welcome to prep alongside me if you would like, and if you don't want to, that's totally fine. But though, for those who are, you're going to have a great meal by the end of this call, which is amazing. And for those of you who are interested, I'm going to put the recipe in the link in the chat. In case you didn't get it, you should have gotten an email with it. And if you didn't, no problem. You can just there's the recipe for you, so you can take a look at it. Um, so while I'm prepping, I'm going to be talking about the problems with weight loss and how I myself lost 80 pounds and why the Lose It Forever weight loss program is the last program you're going to ever need to lose your weight. I'm also going to be talking about my specific sustainability weight loss system. And then at the end of our call, I'm going to offer an exclusive invite to let you know how you can work with me to make sure you really do lose it all forever. I'll be your guide and your cheerleader, helping you along the way. No matter what you decide, whether you decide to work with me or not, by the end of this call today, you are going to be going home with some tangible um, tools that you can apply right away to get started now losing all your weight forever. So, for those of you who don't know me, I am Amy Scott. I have been overweight my whole life, and then I lost about 80 pounds through a group coaching program about 5 years ago. I've spent many, many years in a yo-yo diet cycle. I would lose weight, but then unable to keep it off. I felt discouraged, defeated, hopeless. I was at the point that I did lose my 80 pounds. I was over 50. I have Hashimoto's, thyroid disease, and I just thought that there was nothing that would work for me that would be sustainable. But once I lost my weight through the magic of coaching, I decided to become a coach. And I've been certified since 2022, and I've been helping women lose their weight forever since then. I also began a new program last September, the Lose It Forever Weight Group Coaching Program, to help to reach even more women and help them lose their weight forever. Here is the sales page for those of you who are interested. I'm going to just put that in the if you want to just go ahead and while we're talking, you can take a look at that. Go take a gander of that over there. Um, so before I get started, I just want to say that I noticed there are three different camps of women who want to lose their weight. You can just drop a 1, 2, or a 3 in the chat if this is you. So you've never really struggled with weight until you had kids. You can drop a 1 if that's you. You could gain and lose easily, but then you hit menopause or anything like a specific age, and then you felt like my body changed, something changed. So put a number 2 in the chat if that's you, or a number 3 in the chat if you struggled with weight your whole life, always noticing you can't relate to people who talk about, I used to be so small in my teens and 20s, and you've just assumed it was up to genetics, or your temperament, and you are destined to always struggle with your weight. So if you feel comfortable, you can just drop a 1, 2, or a 3 in the chat. We have a 2. So yeah, that is your body changed at a certain age, which that happened. What's interesting is I'm kind of all three of those. So I had a son after the age of 34. I had lost a lot of weight. I had dropped about 60 pounds with Weight Watchers. And oh, there's a 3. So this is perfect. You're in the perfect place if this is you. So just 1 second. We're going to admit one more person. And I might just redo this. So hello, Lisa. Nice to have you here. I don't know if she can hear me. I'm going to, oh, she's got to put some ear things on. All righty.
Sorry.
Lisa, hello. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Amy.
Welcome, welcome. I'm just going through a quick little question and Q&A thing, and I'm gonna hit the mute button. So you're gonna just use the chat. If you have you can see the chat feature. That basically you're gonna put a 1 in the chat if you've never struggled with your weight your whole life until you had kids. And number 2, if you could gain and lose easily, but then you hit menopause and all of a sudden your body changed and you're like, whoa, what is happening? Or some age, like you hit a point in time when then your normal tricks didn't work anymore. Or 3, you've struggled with weight your whole life and kind of never was a thinner person ever. So you can't relate to like these people that talked about how I was so great in my 20s and then the 30s and 40s came and I don't know what happened to my body. So if you feel comfortable sharing a 1, 2, or a 3, that would be so useful because this is for everybody. So if you're a 1 and you've never struggled with weight until you had kids, that could be you. If you're a 2 and you've never struggled with weight until all of a sudden there was like an age, like you could do stuff and then get the weight right off. So I see 2 2s, and then the last one being a 3, which is you struggled with weight your whole life, always noticing that like I can't relate to people that were thinner. Like ironically, I'm actually thinner now than I ever was in that even on my wedding day. So I weigh 25 pounds less than I did on my wedding day. Actually, no, wait, what am I saying? 35 pounds less. Anyway, whatever. I don't know the numbers. You, me, and math. So yay. So anyway, just wanting to let you know wherever you land. And first of all, I can identify with all three. I had a son after the age of 34, and I did notice it was a little bit of a struggle. I had lost weight pretty with Weight Watchers very well. It worked really well. And then I had Ben, and then that was when I was 34. And then for whatever reason, it was like a yo-yo up and down, back to Weight Watchers, back and forth, and yo-yoed up and down after that. And I've also definitely have struggled with my weight my whole life. And I did notice a definite shift after I hit menopause. Plus, like I said, I have Hashimoto's, thyroid disease. So I just thought that all these things were stacked against me. What I want to share with all of you guys is there is hope wherever you are in this process. I got you because I've been all of these, right? So I've got you that you are in the right place. So the sustainability weight loss system, which is part of my process, part of my program of the Lose It Forever weight loss program, is it's one of the pieces that I'm going to be teaching you today. After we get started cooking, I'm going to after we're going to prep for a little bit, and then I'm going to explain this process a little bit. We are going to get into, yeah, I think we'll start into prepping. So let's see. The chicken tenders. Let me move my computer. So I'm going to get ready to cook. So I'm taking my little rings off. For those of you who are cooking alongside, totally great if you are. And if you're not, totally great. Lisa, I put the recipe. Let me just see it if it's here in case you want it. The recipe will be in the chat. Now that she's in there, actually, let me put that there and copy and paste. All right, let's get moving. All right. All right. Oh, I just realized I'm gonna pick my rings off. I'm put my little apron on, and I've got to go get my chicken. It's in the fridge. So here's a little trick for those of you who don't like to touch raw meat like me. So I don't know if you guys know, but I Um, Cooking is not my first love. I do it because I want to eat healthy. I want to make it easy. That's my MO is just to make it as easy as possible. For those of you who know me well, know that cooking is it's not usually my forte, and that's okay. I'm totally fine with that. There are certain things I really, really dislike about cooking. So, by the way, here's a couple little things that I set up my kitchen for food prepping. One is I have a garbage bowl that it's great because if you know have crumbs on your counter, I just take my garbage bowl and you can wipe everything right into the this garbage bowl. I also bring over my trash can closer, so that's right here. And if you use your dishwasher for all the dishes, you can open that up and just keep that open while you're prepping. I'm just not doing it today, but that's normally what I do. So I'm just kind of giving you a heads up. So here's my little tip for chicken. I don't really care for touching raw meat. It's kind of skeevy to me. So I get it frozen from Aldi's. Yay, Aldi's. And I keep it really cold. So this was in the fridge. I had just defrosted it. It was in the fridge. And what I'm going to do is use this bowl. I've actually put in, so the recipe doesn't call for this, but I added some grated lime. I have a lime to show you. You know what a lime looks like. I use them all. There's lime juice in it, but I use this. It's people call it a wood rasp and now all of a sudden it's gone. Anyway, it looks like that to grate the lime peel. So I put a little bit of lime. Since you're going to be using a lime anyway, so before you cut the lime, I like to just get the the lime, shredded lime um, rind, lime rind on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a minute here and use my knife and kind of like tidy this up a little bit. So I bought the chicken tender, so you can get a whole chicken, you can get breasts, you can get whatever cut of meat you like. I love chicken tenders. I just got the tenderloins from good old Aldi's, and they're a little partially frozen, so they're not so skeevy. And so I just take off like some of the little scary parts, so these little what do you call them? The little white parts. And I might cut these in half because I like them to be a little bit thinner than the chicken tenders. So that's what I'm going to do while I'm talking a little bit. So I've got to find a better place for my mouth here. But basically, so I have, like I said, I have been overweight my whole life, basically even since elementary school. I um I went through a phase at one point where I remember thinking, you know what? After I got married, I kind of ballooned up to my highest weight shortly after I was married. So Greg and I got married. I was 25. I was like, I got me a man. I can just relax. Then I ballooned up to about 225. And it really didn't seem to affect me. God bless Greg. He loves me at every size, all the sizes. So it didn't really become an obstacle for me. So I didn't really try it. Like, I will honestly say it just weight loss. I know some women have been on diets their whole life. That was not my story. I actually didn't necessarily feel like I had to lose the weight, or that I was less than because I mean, I might not have loved being as heavy as I was, but I did not go on a diet until I had a very specific situation. We were vacationing with friends in the French Alps, and I went to go get fitted I had to rent some ski boots there, and my legs were too large. I guess every French women don't have as large of legs as I have. So none of the rented boots fit my body. So there I was having an opportunity to do something that I would have loved to do. I love being outdoors. I love skiing. Um, and I wasn't able to partake in that activity. And I will just say, it's a little cold when you do it with frozen like this. My hands are freezing. Hang on. I gotta warm them up. Hold on. Um, so I, so my friend had to drive me back to the chalet and I couldn't go with them. And so I sort of missed out on this opportunity and I was only 34. So this is, like I said, Greg and I had been married for a bit. or early 30s. I can't remember my exact age. And here I was traveling in a beautiful part of the world that this trip of a lifetime. And no matter, even though the money, I felt like it was in some ways kind of like a waste of money for the trip because I couldn't enjoy it fully. I had to, I went back to the chalet and sat and read for the rest of the day with my like kind of tail between my legs. And I thought, wait a minute, something's got to give. I do not want to live the rest of my life this way. I do not, I'm too young to be missing out on life. So I made that decision then and there to start losing weight. And that's when I did my first round with Weight Watchers and did lose some weight. Then, then about a year or two later, I got pregnant with Ben, which was a wonderful surprise. Greg and I had been married for 9 years by that point. So we didn't think it was possible. I just figured, okay, being a mom doesn't define you. It's not a big, I'll be okay either way. Um, but happily, what a happy surprise. God knows I love surprises. Hang on, chicken piece. And I am gonna put that in the fridge, in the fridge, in the trash can. I'm not like, was it Julia Child who picks stuff up off the floor and puts it in? I'm not that. I'm not ready to do that. Not with my floor anyway. I mean, I'm a great housekeeper, but you never know, right? Anyway, um, so yes, that was a defining moment. So I did lose the weight with Weight Watchers. Then I got pregnant, and then I noticed, I will say, a couple things shifted in me. Exercise became a part of my life. I started really loving moving my body. I was gifted a baby jogger from a good friend, so that was wonderful. Anyway, all that stuff to say, I was off and running and getting better at figuring out what this weight loss was, but it still wasn't coming off. It didn't come right off, even with the exercise, even with, my normal tricks, my normal Weight Watcher tricks. It wasn't working. Hold this thought. I'm just going to hide this around the corner here. All right, next, what I want to do is we're going to combine the marinade for the chicken. So the chicken's kind of done. Like I said, this is my garbage bowl. What I do is take a minute and just throw this in the trash. Um, and let me wipe this down a little bit. And actually, I want to clean my cut. So this is how I love doing this. It's on the cutting board. You just have the trash can handy. It just conserves steps. Whatever you can do to conserve energy, um, I'm all about that. That me. So I have some cauliflower in here. I don't want it to get soap on it. Let me get some clean this off. And then we're going to combine the marinade for the chicken. So anyway, that's my story. And then in my 50s, I met a coach. I got involved in a group coaching program, understood the difference that basically it wasn't the Hashimoto's that was keeping me heavy. It was the hand to the mouth. My coach, she was pretty, what's the word? Very, um, a tough love coach. She's like, you're not heavy because of the Hashimoto's, you're heavy because of the hand to the mouth. And I was like, well, no, no, it's my it's my family heredity, it's my age, it's my, all these things. And when she said that, it was like a flash of cold water. And I was like, oh, I'm eating when I'm not hungry. That's everything. Like, turns out I'm eating more than I need, like bottom line, and I'm just eating more than I need. So, anyway, ever since then, I've just wanted to help every woman lose all their weight forever. So, let me just hang on 1 second. After we do that. So the tools that I'm teaching you today are what I learned how to lose the weight sustainably, that it wasn't so overwhelming, wasn't changing everything in my pantry. It wasn't just like starving myself into submission. I'm going to be explaining like the step-by-step way of how I did that. But first, let's talk about the things that get in the way of weight loss. So for example, the yo-yo diet cycle. So have you ever been in a situation where you were trying just to only eat the right food. That whenever you're wanting to lose weight, first of all, you feel that sense of urgency, like, oh gosh, what's happening? I've got to, again, it feels like it came on really fast. So you feel like you have to lose it really fast. So you change all the food in your pantry. You think, I'm going to only eat good food. I'm going to give up sugar. I'm going to give up flour. I'm going to give up bread until your niece has a wedding and you want to eat some wedding cake. Or somebody, you go walk by a bakery and there's really good bread and it smells amazing. So then you give in and then you feel like a failure. Has that been anyone? If that resonates with you, you can just think about that. You don't need to like write anything about that, but I'm going to be doing a little survey after this. But that's the one of the problems with traditional weight loss plans is we're like, okay, I'll give you a food plan. I'm going to tell you exactly what to eat, which is awesome for like the first 5 minutes. And then it doesn't, it's not able to, just, you're not able to stick with it. The second thing, I'm trying to think, I was going to ask questions and and combine things, but I can't do two things at once. So put a pin in that. And I'm going to go back to food prepping for just a sec. Where is my, okay. So we'd have the boneless, skinless chicken breasts. What I'm going to do is I like to stir it up in here. So we're taking some brown sugar. Oh, and a little thing about brown sugar. So I opened my little brown sugar container, and it was hard as a rock today. I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I wanted to share this with you guys. It's a little trick that I have. So I have this in water. This is a little bear, and it's a brown sugar. It's for brown sugar, and it's terracotta, and it's supposed to keep your brown sugar really moist. So I just throw it in some water and then put it back in here, and it will be nice and soft. So even this, even though it's hard as a rock, it will get really soft. Fortunately, I had another bag of brown sugar hidden, so it's all good. Everything's fine. So we're taking some brown sugar. I'm doubling my recipe. I have 2 pounds of chicken, by the way, instead of one. So I'm doing 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 4 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. Let me get my little whisk out. And a tablespoon of fresh ginger. I love, so again, I'm not a purist at all. It's this beautiful thing. It's called ginger in a bottle. Spice World. Yay, Walmart. So I just get this. I did 2 tablespoons of this. Now, if you use regular ginger, another hack that I've used, when you get regular ginger, I peel it. You know how the edge is like, you're supposed to peel it. So I have peeled it and then I keep the chunks of ginger in my freezer peeled, so just like ginger chunks. And then when it comes to a recipe like this, I grab this little grater, this microplane. There we go, has the name on it, microplane. And then I grate the ginger using this. So that's handy. That's another way to do it. Or you could just, some people don't care for that this gives an aftertaste or something. I don't notice a difference. So I use the jarred stuff. It's perfect for me. But I'm just giving you little tips of everything, anything I can freeze, I freeze. That's one of the things one of my little hacks of how I keep things, easier. So ginger, next is I'm doing 2 tablespoons of lime juice because I'm doubling the recipe. So 2 tablespoons of lime juice, get poured in here. Push it back. Next is 2 garlic cloves. It's actually 4 garlic cloves minced because I doubled it. And Lisa, just so you know, I think I put the recipe in the link in the chat. If you want to take, you can print it out or have it there for you or pull it up, whatever is easiest for you. All right, so garlic. And then last is red pepper. So I have this little red pepper. Oh, and I wanted to show you this. I got these from my sister. These are really awesome spoons. They fit in these narrow jars. So you can fit a whole tablespoon in this narrow jar. So there you go. So that's something that might be handy for you. And the red pepper flakes, that's a taste thing. If you don't care for something a little spicy, you don't need to do that. So I'm going to put this in this separate thing. I think I want to say the instructions on the actual recipe tell you to put the liquid stuff in the bowl first, but because I put my chicken here first, I do have to dirty another dish. Oh well, no problem. I'll get someone else to do the dishes. Maybe Greg will do them. I don't know. Probably not. Anyway, then I'm just going to pour this over and then I'm going to throw it in the fridge for, it says to put it to refrigerate for 30 minutes or up to 2 hours. So I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. And before we're done, I'm going to get this out. What I'm going to do is do a little stir and get this nicely coated. We made the mistake one time of we're like, oh, we can marinate for like 2 days, but turns out chicken and any type of acid, like the lime juice, it really makes it taste kind of funky. So 2 hours tops, but today we're going to just do 30 minutes, and that's usually just perfect. And then we're going to talk about skewers. I like to put this on. I have some wooden. So for those of you, if you got some wooden dowels for skewers, I put them in here. There's just the pan that we use. It's just a plain old, sheet pan thingy. I have some water in here and have them soaking so that they don't burn when you put them on the grill. But we've found that they usually burn anyway. So I'm going to show you some other skewers. I'm just giving you all the options though, just in case, because I love using them. I use them for cake testers. I use them for, you know, uh, if you don't want your cake to touch the saran wrap, you can, use parts of those in there. So this is nice and coated. All right, I'm just going to throw this in the fridge. Give me one sec. All right, let's see. Next, we're going to start the peanut sauce because I want to get that going as well. And then we're going to get back to our topic. But first, I want to show you, this is where I'm going to do my peanut sauce. I did the same thing. I got some lime rind and I put it in the bottom of my thing for the peanut sauce. And the first ingredient is brown sugar, and it's because I doubled it, 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. Here's my 4 tablespoons of brown sugar, nice and soft because I had soft thing. Then 4 tablespoons of lime juice. And I actually, to be quite honest, I didn't really measure it. I just squeezed whatever that was in the lime. I didn't actually measure out I'm telling you, 4 tablespoons of lime juice. Then, okay, it says a quarter cup of creamy peanut butter. I did a half a cup, and it's crunchy peanut butter. I'm sorry, but I just really love crunchy peanut butter. So that's what I use. And this is a real handy little thing. Anytime you have something sticky, I got this from Pampered Chef probably 1,000 years ago. I love this. I use it for molasses. I use it for peanut butter, anything sticky, honey, any of that stuff. It's amazing. So you can just pop this in. I do it with brown sugar too, some of the times. You just push the bottom part. You can measure up to what it measures, and then look how easy that is to clean up. You don't have to take hours for the cleanup. It's so nice. So yay, Pampered Chef. Sometimes they know not sometimes, a lot of times they know what they're doing, those people. Okay, I'm losing utensils here. Where did I put all right, did you guys see where I put my whisk? Like seriously. Oh, here it is. Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Just knowing I can ask you gives me a sense of safety. So that's good. So next, and I know it's thicker, but I really love peanut butter, so I'm totally good with it. Next, again, this is an optional thing. I'm doing a half of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, because I like it. And instead of a quarter, because I'm doubling the recipe. And then I'm also this is a dark garlic clove minced. Same thing, garlic. I think I told you about that, but it's garlic, same thing that I do. Did I put garlic in the other one? Oh my goodness, I can't remember. I guess I did. And then the other thing that this calls for, so it's really thick. This is definitely too thick, even though that I have lime juice in it. And you're able to whisk it, it's fine, but it needs to be a little bit more runny. So you're to add warm water, a tablespoon at a time, till you get your desired consistency. And it says 2 to 4 tablespoons. So we just want to get this. And then this peanut sauce just goes as it's like a dipping sauce for your chicken satay. So good. Oh my gosh. Some people object to peanuts in their savory dishes. Not me. I love peanuts anyway. Anyhow, I'll take them. So I think it's still a little too clumpy, so I'm going to add a little bit more water. All right. Maybe a little bit more. And then this is just going to go in a jar in the, and whoops, stuck in the fridge for when we're ready to eat. There we go. So to be like that. I don't know if you can see. It's a little smoother. And of course it has chunks in it because I use chunky peanut butter. Yours might not be so chunky, but and you can just do whatever desired consistency you like. So this is how I roll. So I'm gonna put that aside for now. We don't need to worry about it. Okay, so that is that. That's everything for the chicken satay and the peanut sauce. I'm gonna put this all aside. Let me just this give a head off. Get this out of the way. And then while I prep the veggies, I have but my next phase, the next problem is when we eat mindlessly. So for those of you who, when you think about, like when my coach said that one time to me, when she's like, well, you're just, too much hand to mouth, And I was like, yeah, but I mean, am I? Like I really questioned that because I wasn't sure how much I was eating. I really didn't notice, I gotta say. Which, guess what? That's mindless eating. Like, by the way, now I know. Um, that one of the things that I wondered, like, if you could identify the difference. Like, at first, for me, I'm just going off camera for just a sec, I'm grabbing the veggies, because we're going to do some roasted vegetables. And again, I may do some in the oven, and then some I may do on the grill because we're grilling anyway. So I'm going to put the chicken on the skewers. What we like to do is you could either put the vegetables, I have some started already, but I like our vegetables a little bit smaller. So we use these. They're awesome. So they have holes in them and you can just cook on them on your grill. Go right on your grill and then the flames go up and they get nice and caramelized. So fun. So I put another little helpful tip for those of you who want to do that. Or roasted is just fine. I've already preheated my oven so now in case you didn't know, we're moving on to the roasted veggies. Um, preheat your oven to, what does it say? 425. And then I'm going to just toss in this big bowl some of the veggies that we're going to cut. So, so I also have some pre-cut from last time I food prepped. I have some peppers that I already started, so I'm just going to use these. I use these to have for hummus. I have some more peppers for later today. One of the other things I want to do today is I'm going to make salads for the family for the week. So I have peppers for that. I have peppers going to be going in here. And I'm going to also be making some pancakes for my mother-in-law and me for the week as well later today. So I'll show you about that. But first, we're going to just prep some of these. So I have carrots and the onions in here, and I'm going to cut all right, keep losing my utensils. Did I put that over? Oh, yeah, I did. Um, my knife, I didn't lose it. It was here. It was here the whole time. I'm going to cut some peppers to start with, and then I'm going to cut some cauliflower, and that will be ready to go. So I'm going to kind of like an inch. I'm thinking like 2 inches, trying to keep them right around the same size. Um, and if they're not, that's okay too. I'm totally fine with that. You'll find out what'll happen is, so one of the things I did get was asparagus. I thought that might be a fun thing. I kind of added that on. So I may cut that as well. And some of the veggies might cook a little faster than some of the others. That's the only thing that you have to be careful of with roasting veggies. But what we're going to do is basically cut some of these and coat them with some olive oil and some spices, and then they'll be good to go. You can just um, put them on the grill, put them in I have a sheet pan, oh, here it is. I have a sheet pan ready to go, and I'm gonna throw them in the oven for about 20 to 35 or 30 to 35 minutes. So, and I like it when they get nice and brown, caramelized, not burnt. I mean, I do burn things and I call it caramelized, but this time I mean really just caramelized. So, um, let me see, where was I? Oh, mindless eating. So when we eat mindlessly, that's one of the reasons we're overweight. Sometimes we think, I just need to feel better, or you're eating for an emotional reason. We don't call it emotional eating. We eat because we're bored, we're starting to look for something to do. a lot of times, and that really is mindless eating. So that's the second step. That's the second thing that makes weight loss so much harder is when we're actually just not being aware of mindless eating. And then the third thing is how many people you get on the scale and you think you have this like inner dialogue with yourself that when you're only noticing what the scale is saying, if it's either staying the same or going up, and you're just thinking, I'm a mess. Like, what is wrong? What is wrong with me? I'm doing all these things, nothing is working. And your inner dialogue is just focusing on what's not going well, what you're like not good. Let's just say that. Not going good. So while I'm cutting things up, and I'm actually ready to put these in the oven in just a minute. So I want you to answer with an A, B, or C, or D in the chat. I think oh wait, we got cauliflower I want to do, which I started washing a while. I'm just going to cut these into florets and we'll be ready to go. If you notice you're thinking, that you think you only need to eat good food and that feels overwhelming and you don't and aren't able to stick with it, type an A in the chat. And I'm going to repeat these at the end. Okay. If you are noticing that you're eating mindlessly and that you had no idea what you're physically hungry or physically satisfied, type in the letter B. If you either avoid the scale totally or feel totally depressed about the number on the scale, type the note letter C in the chat. Or if it's D, if it's all of the above, type a D. So, to repeat, A for the yo-yo emotional diet cycle, A. B for mindless eating. C for only noticing the number on the scale, or D for all of the above. All right, we have two B's. So mindless eating, not really noticing when you're eating for physical hunger versus emotional hunger, maybe, or not just eating mindlessly. Okay, great. Is there another one? A and A and I'm D, all of the above, but yeah, or I was A and B. Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for that. All right, I'm doing these again, trying to keep them around the same size. So, okay, so I've got some really good news. I can help you with all of these things. So, when I teach the sustainability weight loss system, one of the first things I teach my clients is just to notice what you're eating. In other words, first of all, we just taking away all the shame of good or bad food. How about this? There's no good or bad food. Like, honestly, like sit with that for a minute. When you take away the shame of good or bad food, all of a sudden it opens you up to realizing, you mean I could have that cake at my niece's wedding and not feel shame over it? Or just noticing, like, so one of the things that I use to help my clients do this is to track your food, which is important, not because you're eating like perfectly, but because we want to know. We want to have data. We want to know what we're eating. We want to know how much we're eating. Um, so what I help you do is create a protocol that you actually like and want to stick with, of food that you actually like and want to stick with. So one of the things, for example, I have on my protocol are Kodiak pancakes. So I'm going to take a little break from that for just a minute and explain. I love pancakes. I love eating them. I'm not getting paid by Kodiak. I just wanted to show you what the bottle box looks like. So I make these pancakes. They have 21 grams of protein when you add milk and an egg. So I add egg and a milk. I also add a little like scoop of uh, milled flaxseed, which adds an additional. So it already has. Let me see. I wrote it down. Grams of. Already has 5 grams of fiber just in this stuff. Then you add another 7 grams of fiber with this, so it helps keep you fuller longer. The protein is amazing. That keeps you fuller longer. It also reduces your spike in your insulin and blood sugar. And so you can eat those Kodiak pancakes. I eat them. I do sometimes have syrup on them. What? Yes, I do. I eat syrup. Yum. I also find ways to balance it out with some high protein, full fat yogurt, some plain yogurt with some fresh fruit or nuts in there. Um, and yeah, so you can lose weight eating pancakes. The other thing I wanted to share with you is a couple little kitchen gadgets that I like. This is my salad spinner. So I'm going to be making salads later today. I just buy a head of lettuce and I spin it so it's nice and dry. This is from OXO. I love it. It's amazing. And then I did want to share, these are my favorite when I food prep. I buy stuff at the grocery store and I put them in these boxes right away. They are so fun. I have the link. I can share it with you guys. They come in three parts. So this is I have holes in the bottom, so it's like a little colander, and then a tray to catch all the drips, and then a lid. So when I get blueberries from the store, I just put them right in here, and it keeps them longer, it keeps them fresher, it keeps them handy and easy. So all my food gets washed and prepped the minute I come home from the grocery store. And guess what? I'm much more likely to eat them, and then they don't turn into a science experiment in 3 weeks. So there's that. So, as a way of eating all the things, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to show you guys. That's food prep wise. Right, I think I'm done with my veggies for now. I think that looks good. So this is a nice little mix of some veggies, and then I'm gonna put some a little bit of olive oil on. So olive oil, and then I mixed. The recipe calls for garlic powder. And I added nature seasoning. We really love nature seasoning at our house. It has a little celery seed in it. So this is something different. I've never done this with roasted veggies before, so we'll see. I'm a little afraid it might get too salty, so I'm gonna just kind of hold off on that. And then fresh ground black pepper. By the way, I love one of the things that I changed is really eating good food, not just, and when you're eating, eat something you love. One of the things that elevates my food is using fresh pepper versus the just jarred, the shaker pepper. It's so much better. It makes such a big difference. And you can get like one of these like cheapo pepper grinders from the grocery store. It's worth it. So good. I love it. And a little bit of salt, a little kosher salt. Sprinkle that out there. That's everybody. That's everything on that. And then it says at the end you can do a fresh squeeze of lime. Let me just make sure I got all the ingredients. Garlic, pepper, sea salt, olive oil. Yeah, pretty basic, pretty simple. Let me just toss this. And for right now, I'm going to throw this in the oven and I'm going to set it for about 20 minutes and see how it works. But super easy. It's like it's almost brainless. I mean, you saw me, I was talking the whole time. So you could listen. So one of the other things that I love to do when I'm food prepping is I put on a podcast or listen to or put my like Netflix on or something with my earbuds or put some great music on, some good old tunes from the 70s and 80s that I love, like Lil Dan Fogelberg and some of that stuff. You know, I love that. So whatever makes you happy. And then all of a sudden food prep doesn't become this like big pain in the neck chore. It becomes something that you do for self-care that you love to do for you. So spread that out nicely. And I'm going to throw it in the oven. So set the timer. I'm going to just start with 20. Okay. All right. So let's get into the meat of what I wanted to share with you guys. I'm gonna go back to my non-cooking phase here. Let me put my jewelry back on. Um, okay. So I know a lot of times people will think, well, tracking what you're eating sounds boring. It sounds like it's a pain. What is the point? The point is to bring to awareness. It actually works with the second phase, which is the mindless eating. When you know what you're eating and you're doing it without judging it, all of a sudden you don't have a problem tracking it. A lot of us don't want to write down our food because we're embarrassed about what we actually ate for the day. So I have a daily food protocol blueprint that I'm happy to share with you. And for those who sign up for the um, for the Lose It Forever weight loss program today, but before Wednesday, I'm going to be sending you the food protocol, food planning blueprint, as well as a video of me talking and walking you through it. So just so you know. Um, so definitely think about that. You'll get this as a bonus for signing up before Wednesday. But basically, you're creating, and so you're noticing what you're eating, and you're also creating a daily plan from love, not restriction. So that's that first step. So that's your first thing that you want to do is notice what you're eating, writing it down, taking away all the shame, creating a protocol of made up of food you actually want to eat from love, not restriction, not because you think you need to eat diet food. The next phase, oh, so I have an example. Let me just give you an example of a client who did this. She's actually lost 25 pounds. And she said, I learned that with planning, I can make better decisions and stick to them. This is my client KM. At first, I resisted, because we all do, right? Let me just say, it's normal to be like, ugh, gotta write down my food. What? She resisted. So far, it's fine. But then she found so much success when she started doing them. She said it's like an accountability partner with me all day long. The daily planning sheet helps me to make better decisions with her rational brain. So, so the other piece of this, I'm going to do a little insert this here, that when you make your plan at a time of day, I do mine in the morning, that you have your best in mind. You're at the highest motivation. By the time the end of the day comes along, your motivation and your success, your feeling of who you want to be, your future self, might wane just a little bit. So you want to like catch that wave at the beginning of your day. And so that's what she said, so that I make better decisions with my rational brain. When I'm in a bind or wanting to eat some emotional eating, that planning sheet helps her to make choices that support her goal. So good. So, so good. And that's exactly what I do. It's something I've started about this. I started this about 5.5, maybe 6 years ago. I do it every day. I did my plan today, as a matter of fact. So I do it every day. I write and notice it. And it's easy to do. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. All right. The second step, which is to build trust with your body. Learn to identify your physical hunger signals. So take a minute and think about what those are for you. So just take it like just I'm just gonna pause here for just and have you just like kind of think about that. For me, sometimes I'll notice a grumble in my stomach. Sometimes I'll have a headache. I might get distracted. I definitely think, yeah, it's definitely time to eat. Like I like trying to, I'm losing track of my task because I'm so, so quite hungry. Um, the so that's on the hunger side. We go through this in depth in the Lose It Forever weight loss program. And then there's the other side, which is the satiation side. This one is a little trickier. And for many of us, it's really hard. Like when something tastes so good, how do you stop eating, right? So, one of the things that we work on is that basically the only reason we're overweight is because we're eating more than our body needs. So, if you get really good at noticing this that I'm satiated, meaning satisfied, not full, there's a difference because once you hit the full mode, you might have blown past enough or past satisfied, and that's when you start feeling uncomfortable or irpy or bloated, and you won't be losing weight. So if you get really good at noticing the satiation signals. So for me, for example, this one took a while for me to learn, but here are mine. I am no longer distracted, or I get distracted eating. So I start thinking about, oh, what am I going to do today? And what else could I do? Or something like that. The food no longer has that importance. I start looking for best bites. So I'm eating like a crunchy bagel and I'm like, oh man, I definitely want to have the nice crunchy edge. I could leave the soggy middle of the pancake or the, whatever that is, right? You just start kind of like scooching around your plate for best bites. That's the time to your brain, okay, maybe I'm actually done. Another one is I I noticed this like I call it the sigh, where I'm like, oh, okay. So what happens then very often, especially when I have that sigh, I my brain's like, we are so not done. This is way too no, we can't pause. Like there's still half the plate left. No, no, it can't be. So then I do the timer trick where I'll set my timer on my watch for a couple minutes. And then if I am physically hungry, I get to go back and eat it. So telling myself that it's okay, you're going to be okay. It's like a sort of develop safety with myself that I get to go back and eat it if I am physically hungry in about 5 minutes, that has been a game changer. That one thing can literally change your whole life. Here's why. Our stomach is 10 minutes or 20 minutes behind our brain. So our stomach is way done, but our brain's like, no, we're not. And so by the time our brain catches on, it's 20 minutes have gone by and we that's why we end up that's one reason we end up overeating. This is not the emotional. This is just like for your physical hunger signals. So when it comes to emotional eating, I just wanted to point this one thing out. Food has one purpose, and it's to solve hunger. That's it. Otherwise, my friends, you're eating for an emotional reason. It could be boredom, it could be distraction, it could be to create excitement, it could be sadness or comfort. Like we think about food for comfort. That's too that's that's too much heavy lifting for food. That's not food's job. So when we give all that responsibility to food, it's not its rightful place. Food has one job, and that is to solve hunger. Once you get really clean about that and start, and that's what we work through in the Lose It Forever weight loss program, is we talk about, okay, let's solve for the emotional problem or the emotional issue. And then we all of a sudden can have the bandwidth to notice what our physical hunger signals are. Sometimes it gets a little muddled, and that's where I come in. So that's amazing right there. That basically, so we get to the cause inside my program as to why we're eating for emotional reasons. So one of the things that I think about is, and sometimes, let me just say, and just to be very clear, sometimes the emotional reason isn't a big, like, well, I was abandoned as a child or like anything heavy. It could just be, well, no, I just didn't want my kids to eat that snack. So I ate it. And I wanted it to be there. And let me just tell you, in full disclosure, I have done this where or like hide things from Greg and hide things from Ben when Ben lived here. Um, it turns out it just, it's not super deep. I realize now how silly that sounds because guess what? I have a driver's license. I have a car. I can go get Oreos anytime I want. And I put them on my plan. Part of the reason we're doing that is we're like shoving, like after Easter or after a holiday, we're shoving food in our mouth because we never get this food or I don't want anyone else to get it, or we never have this, this is something special. So when we're doing that, it's because we're also telling ourselves we don't, back to point one, which is you're not eating, you're not putting it on your plan. You're not allowing yourself to have an Oreo. Put the Oreo on the plan. It's okay. It's fine. Like, especially if you have like an urge for something that has served me so well. It's like I have an urge for tortilla chips. Guess what? They're not on my plan for today, but I'm going to be putting them on the plan for tomorrow. Not a problem. Um, and I know how to stop eating them at enough. I can, portion them out, or I've got tricks that I know work for me. So the truth is, I can get any of that food anytime I want. That just releases you so much. It's so freeing just to have that knowing that you don't have to limit yourself. And so that's that piece of it. As far as any emotional triggers, that's also what we unpack a lot more in the Lose It Forever program. We have some mindset tools that help with that. We also have some just real practical tools, like actual process tools. I'm not thinking of the right word. Me and the words. I do have this issue sometimes. So anyway, it'll come to me probably as I'm talking to the next thing. All right. Step 3 is tracking your progress and celebrating all the wins, not just weight loss. So when you're noticing things other than just the number on the scale, that creates momentum and hope instead of defeat and discouragement. So we take the time to learn the skill of celebrating wins. We do this every call. Every time we get on a call, we all share our wins for the week. When I talk about noticing what you're eating, like I said, one reason we don't want to notice it is because we want to avoid feeling terrible. So to start doing what's right, this doesn't come naturally, and it takes practice. It takes consistency, and tracking the data. It can be such a game changer. So I have another client, KL. She is brilliant, such a smart woman. She's a physician, a little over the age of 65, by the way. And then during one of our calls, she was kind of frustrated about the number on the scale. So I asked her about how she was doing with water. One of the tenets that I teach, one of the practical systems that I teach is drinking 64 ounces of water is super helpful in helping you for a variety of reasons. And I get into it a lot more in depth in the program. So she was frustrated about the number on the scale. So I was like, hey, how's that water going? She's like, oh, I'm doing all the things. I don't know, including water, whatever. This is stupid. I don't know what's happening. So I'm like, okay, just for kicks, let's track your water next week. Well, she came back and she's like, yeah, I realized I was not drinking the water that I thought I was because I wasn't tracking it because you just didn't notice. It's not a problem. Once she started drinking her water, by the way, now she has at 40 pounds down since she started. And yes, the fact that she's over the age of 65 is so cool. Like a lot of people think, oh, but it's just an age thing, right? So just to sum up, and by the way, I think I'm ready to do some skewering next, but the three principles are noticing what you're eating all the foods without judgment, building trust with your body, eating mindfully, not mindlessly, and number three, tracking your progress and celebrating all the wins, not just the scale. I guarantee you're going to lose all your weight forever, no matter how much. It's going to go so much smoother and faster. And you have a great start here just with that, but it will go even better if and you can continue to do things on your own. That's totally perfect. But if you want to lose more weight, for example, have a guide with you along the way, I would be happy to be your guide and help you with that. So for me, I realized I was doing just fine on my own for a while. And then I recognized that I needed help. So I realized that when it comes to something I've never done before, that's why we hire a coach. It helps me with my bit. I hire coaches all the time now. Ever since I became a coach, I realized, or ever since I lost my weight, I hired my weight loss coach. And then I hired a business coach. And I have coaches for my life and my relationships. Someone who's a cheerleader and a guide who can help me navigate a path that I've never been on. Look out for obstacles that in the past would have tripped you up, but I, as your guide, will know that they're coming and I can help you with that. So I'm going to explain what my process is while I skewer some chicken. Onto skewers. So back to the apron. So I want to get this all ready to go, and then Greg and I are going to do some grilling because Greg. The reason I mentioned Greg is because I'm kind of terrible at the grilling. Like I said, me and the cooking, not so much. Greg's really good at the grilling. When it comes to this, just so you know, if you have this on the grill, um, the one thing I will say I do know is that once you're only cooking the chicken pieces for about 4 minutes on a side or something. It says it here. Hang on. 3 to 4 minutes per side. It's really, really fast because there's just tenders. You'll notice that they start to release. Like if they're still stuck to the grill, then it's too soon to like flip them over. So that's my one little tip for you on that. So give me one sec. Oh, and I also wanted to tell you about some different skewer options. So here's the dowels, the wooden dowels. Get this out. And then what we do is we take this pan and we just line up our meat in here. Let me just dry it off. Now, I'm going to explain a lot more about my offer and how I can help you with losing all your weight forever. So the sustainability weight loss system is only one of the tools that I teach in the Lose It Forever weight loss program. But I also have it's three more things that I just want to share with you real quick. And that is during the calls. So one of the things that we do during the calls is we just share, I do a little teaching. So each Thursday we meet on Thursday nights. And if you can't come live, no problem. I have a client, Linda, LS, sorry, and who has lost over 20 pounds. And she was unable to come to a call because of a Bible study. So she still was able to lose all her weight just by listening to the replays. I have the replays set up in such a way that you can get to them easily. So while grab this jewelry off. All right. Oh, let me do like a little commercial here. we have a bunch of different skewer options. So if you are interested in this. So these are the ones, this is like the one that you get at the grocery store. It's pretty basic, but it's thin, and then the things always like spin around. So, and they're kind of long. So that was a no, that's a no-go. Did you ever watch America's Test Kitchen? I love when they like do product reviews. Anyway, this one's amazing. It's flat, so it has like a flat side and a thicker side so that things don't spin. Turns out they're too long, and so you can't close the grill cover. So that's a non-starter. This one, really good, perfect, really in great shape. It's flat, but it's a little, and it's short. It's just the perfect size, but the paint is chipping off of it. So that's kind of like not really the best to have chipping paint in your food. This one was my mom's. They were so cute. Isn't that cute? It has a little end to it. Okay, two things. This gets really, really hot. So when you have company, they will burn themselves on this thing. And if the little part comes out when you're trying to do it. It's great because the stuff doesn't spin, but the little pokey thing comes out. This one, we did just fine. It's a short one. It's similar to that other longer one, has a flat side and a curly side. So these are the ones. They're called Capes, Caspace, I guess it's called. So that's what I'm using today, along with the wooden dowels, just to keep that going. So, okay, here we go. So, um, okay. So one of the things that I'm really good at is simplifying hard things. So with the food planning blueprint, that form that I use every day, it helps you to plan the food that you'll actually eat. I also talk about obviously food prep and teach about that in my Lose It Forever weight loss program. And I'm doing this like doing like a couple, whatever fits on here. Super easy. I also, one of the things that I noticed when I was first losing weight was I was felt very challenged with the clothes I was wearing. I remember thinking, well, I'm going to just wait to buy clothes till I weigh less, till I have less weight. Actually, let me do some of these wooden ones. And I'll take a picture when I'm done because I'll send you guys photos of the wooden ones if they, we'll see if how they do, if they burn up. Um, But when I was losing my weight, I do remember realizing that I would hold off buying clothes that made me feel amazing in my body, thinking, well, I'm just going to wait till I lose the weight. And sometimes I would lose the weight and sometimes I wouldn't. But in the meantime, I just felt terrible. I felt terrible in my own skin. I felt terrible about myself. And so once I started dressing for the body I have, all of a sudden my self-assurance, my self-concept got so much better. I treated myself so much better. And guess what? It was so much easier to not eat for emotional reasons because I was feeling better about myself. So I teach the self-confidence cure in the Lose It Forever weight loss program as well, where we talk about creating self-confidence, like learning to trust yourself, learning to have your own back. How we talk to ourselves is kind of everything. So like when you're thinking about like that scale thing, when like how do you talk to yourself when the scale goes up just a little bit? Like is it compassionate? Are you kind to yourself? Are you, one of the things that I remember learning from my coach is you cannot hate yourself down the scale because once you lose all your weight, then you're going to not all of a sudden be like, oh, well, I like myself now. So learning to love yourself as you're losing weight is so essential. It's really, really the most important thing. So, um, let me just see one more thing. So, oh, lastly, I teach you how to manage your urges with the urge management system. Or the oh, somebody's here. Oh, sorry. Wait, it's okay. Oh, I just realized it's 5 o'clock. It's 3 o'clock. Oh, okay. Um, hello, Kathy. Welcome.
Hi.
We're just finishing up. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna mute you real quick. Um, okay. Where am I? Blah 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 blah. Hang on. All right. Food plan with self-confidence with the oh yes. Oh, with self-confidence. So actually, I had a client who came to me when it came to I'm sorry. I'm getting lost. Here we go. Self-confidence. Oh, that's the veggies. Let me take a look. Oh, they're looking good. I'm going to do a little bit more. All right. Uh, so I had a client come to me who really wasn't interested in weight loss. She was just interested in confidence and in creating some more self-confidence. I think I had done a post one time about being self-confident. She's like, well, I want some of that. So she hired me. We worked together one-on-one for a while. And not only did she increase her self-confidence, she did also lose about 20 pounds. And then we talked a little bit about, she had been through a tough divorce. So we talked about her dating again. She met the man of her dreams. Not that that's like my normal thing that I teach people, but in her case, it worked out great. We worked through, you know, what was important for her, and she's a very spiritual, she loves the Lord, like just a neat lady, and she found her perfect guy for her perfect situation. So like what a success story. And like I said, she's like, I'm not really, the weight loss isn't like my primary thing, but she did gain confidence just through some of the tools that I was able to teach her. I also the um teach about the urges, like the manageable urge method. And we talk about that when you feel an urge, when you feel when you feel an urge, that's an emotion. And what we talk about is how to manage your mind around an urge that you're, first of all, like I remember learning very early on that I'm not going to die. It's not going to kill me to have a little bit of an urge. That sitting through it could be very powerful and give me some agency and have some control over it. So for those of you who are feeling like you are like eating out of control, we address that through this manageable urge method. We talk about how to prevent urges before they even start, what to do during an urge, and how to talk to yourself after an urge. And all of a sudden, you realize it can be quite manageable. So it all starts with how you are thinking about how you should be eating. So one of my clients had come to me. Her name's Joy. She was feeling stuck and overwhelmed and frustrated. She said she said my coaching wasn't just about the numbers on the scale. It was her realized it was her relationship with food. I showed her how to approach her weight loss journey from a place of love and compassion. She said she had struggled. She's one of the ones that struggled with weight after her daughter was born. And she said I was able to calm her down and drill down into exactly why she was eating and didn't want to keep eating, and also what she doesn't want to eat and why, so that we could work through it. So basically, through the Lose It Forever weight loss program, you'll be moving into a more peaceful, centered version of yourself that you can enjoy life without overeating and beating yourself up. So here's what you get. Like I said, we have weekly coaching calls on Thursday evenings that I will teach a concept that's actionable that you can apply right away. And then it's followed by group coaching. Why group coaching? What group coaching looks like is I coach one person. So they'll come with a question. I'll ask some other questions to kind of drill down. And then they themselves figure out what it is that they need, and they get the answer that they need. So like I said, I'm the guide in that process. And then that helps them to get what they need. But also, more importantly, the other people on the call, very often we all tend to have similar questions and similar problems and similar issues. So you can apply with whatever that person is dealing with and get the help that you need for yourself as well. Um, so, like I said, I'm your guide in this process. I can see what's coming ahead. I do this by asking questions and helping find solutions that work best for you. The teaching time is so valuable, but true transformation actually comes from the coaching, I believe. If you can't attend live, no worries. Like I said, my clients, I will post. I post the replays within 48 hours. Really, I just do it that same night most of the time. But so you really don't miss a thing. Everything is labeled and organized in such a way that you can have access to it. I have over 33 weeks now of videos for and they're all labeled, like I said, in our portal. We use Facebook as the portal. So you can just go in there in a private Facebook group and help yourself to go back and look over any calls that you may have missed, or if something that you need to see again. So my client who is not able to attend the calls lost the 20 pounds. She was saying she just recently shared she had two really neat wins. One is she shopped for new jeans recently, like first time in these smaller size. And secondly, she said her daughter gave her a hug the other day. She's like, "Oh my gosh, mom, there's actually less of you here." Like, "Oh my goodness, she could definitely feel a difference." Excuse me one sec. Let me grab this. I think we're good. Here's the roasted veggies. I think that looks great. A little bit caramelized. There you go. You can see the steam. So excited. I'm looking forward to trying them with the recipe actually called for paprika or something. I decided not to use that. So, all right. Next, so when you join right now, you're going to have access to the 33 weeks of calls, and you can just pick the topic that works for you, or just like Netflix, you get to pick whichever one you like. We have a beautiful private Facebook community with like-minded women who also want more for their lives, and they're super supportive and encouraging. And in that Facebook group are under files are printable resources that can help you take the work deeper. So I also, in addition to all the coaching calls, I have a library of over 20 teaching videos that might be helpful for you. The price is $560 for the year, which works out to about $46 for the month, which is kind of unheard of in this industry. The reason I love the annual membership option is because I believe it's the best for most of my clients. For me, it took me about 3 years to lose all my weight. And so that's why I have the yearly option. I do have a monthly option as well, but the yearly option, like I said, it's $560 for the year. It works out about $46 per month. It took me I always say it took me 20 years to lose all my weight. It started about 20 years ago, but then it took 2 years after that. Once I really got serious, or once I learned these tools, it took me about 2 years to lose my weight, which is why I feel it's super helpful to have a full year. But some may take longer than a year because this is not a quick fix. You're literally changing from the inside out so that you'll never have to lose your weight again. So I also have another monthly fee, which is $55 a month. The $560 is $100 off. And I'm also offering a bonus this time only. So we'll see how it goes. For this time, I'm offering a bonus for those who do sign up for the annual membership. I'm going to give you a one-on-one jumpstart strategy call to get a jumpstart on your weight loss. It's a 30-minute call, and I'm going to help you figure out all the things that you need to start with in the program. So if you do sign up for either one before Wednesday, the bonus is the daily planning blueprint. And I'm going to also offer a how-to video that I'm going to walk you through the process that I do each morning. So it's going to be a personalized video for you that you can have with you. So as you're going through it and going, wait, what did she say about how I answer that question or whatever, you'll have that video to look back to. So any questions about anything? I know, Lisa, you were out for just a bit, so I'm happy to repeat anything. But anyone else have any questions about the food, the process, anything? No. Okay. Some people I know feel like they're have a hard time with if they can't get on the calls, which I talked about. I do have people that have tried weight loss medication that have been very successful with my process and my program. I like I said, I'm not as super into like having all exactly the right foods and the right stuff around. So if you don't cook and it's not your priority, this program is totally for you. And if you love to cook, if food means so much to you, that's also okay. It's okay to eat like family pieces. You can make this work. It totally works for me. I eat all the things that, especially for the holidays, that are important to me. I'm trying to think if there's, and I've had some other questions that I'm answering. Um, One question I got was, I eat to relieve stress. How does your program help with this? And so the answer, there's a couple answers, but basically the quick answer is that stress is something that we all do deal with. And so when we learn to separate out a physical hunger and emotional hunger, and focus on what it is that's causing the stress, then we can get to the answer, get to the bottom of it, and then you can move on from there. So that's what I do to help. Um, any other questions or concerns? All right. No. All right, guys. I hope this was helpful for you guys and you have some great information to help you go on your way and lose all your weight forever. All right. Have a good one. Take care. I love y'all. Bye bye. Oh, it's just us. Do you want to talk for just a sec? Hang on. Let me stop the recording.